In December 1980, a series of sightings of unexplained lights near Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk, England was reported along with other unusual discoveries, such as triangular depressions in the ground and bursts of radiation nearby. The Royal Air Force even reported witnessing a metallic object moving through the trees, startling animals on a nearby farm. The event occurred near Woodbridge Royal Air Force Base, managed at the time by the United States Air Force. Evidence suggests that the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense maintains an extensive file on the incident, much of which remains secret. The forest. Rendlesham Forest is a man-made pine plot of roughly 6 square miles, about 8 miles outside of Ipswich. The sleepy area is home to 2 retired military bases. At the time they were operational, both RAF Woodbridge and RAF Bentwater were under U.S. Air Force command. Even commanders Colonel Gordon E. Williams and Colonel Ted Conrad witnessed the UFO. Reports hint that the strange happenings took place inside the forest near Woodbridge. The UFO event, December 26th. The paranormal activity inexplicably took place over Rendlesham Forest on December 26th and 28th, 1980. Events began during the early hours of the 26th. At 3 in the morning, a security patrol near Woodbridge came upon a string of lights hovering above them. They said the lights sank to ground level through the trees. At first, the patrol dismissed it as a plane. Only after approaching did they understand the truth. The servicemen later described it as metallic and somehow glowing. The closer they got, the quicker it passed behind trees. Animals from a nearby farm started howling. Sergeant Jim Peniston later described what he saw simply as a, quote, craft of unknown origin. Yet what he kept from his report was the bizarre flash in which the events transpired, perhaps to prevent future questioning. Later, he claimed to have touched the UFO. At 4 a.m., the police arrived on a call from the patrol. The officers only noted light coming from Orford Ness Lighthouse, 5 miles away. Once dawn broke, servicemen made it to a clearing on the eastern edge of the forest where they believed the object may have flown. They found a triangular pattern of small impressions left in the forest floor. Trees surrounding the clearing suffered burn marks and broken branches. After another call, the police arrived by 10:30. That morning, police presumed the culprit was likely an animal, but the servicemen remained unconvinced. The animal theory failed to explain the tattered woods. Veteran researcher Georgina Bruni would later publish the photographs of the site taken at the time. The UFO event, December 28th. The strange events continued until the early hours of December 28th. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Hall took a group of servicemen to check the alleged UFO landing site. Using an ANPDR-27 survey meter, the military recorded the radiation surrounding the triangle of marks in the clearing. They recorded 0.07 milliroentgens an hour, variation increasing further from the site. Noticeably, a mile away saw an additional burst of radiation. During their investigation, the police observed a flash of light to the east. The glow matched precisely where the farmhouse stood. Following that flash, 3 lights appeared in the sky, star-like, 2 to the north, the other to the south. They hovered a while, the brightest reportedly shining for a couple hours. They occasionally sent down beams of light intermittently. Evidence and cover-up. Several records created over the 2 days following these events serve as testimony to the UFO sighting story. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Hall's history of the incident was published in 1983. Titled Unexplained Lights, the report was written 2 weeks after the event, which resulted in several inconsistencies. Between dates and timelines, Hall's account diverges from other witnesses. Nevertheless, he remains confident that he witnessed an extraterrestrial, or at least paranormal phenomenon, one that has since been covered up. In 1984, Colonel Sam Morgan released a tape with Hall's real-time investigations. His radiation readings and the accounts and reactions of his team to the flashing lights were released to UFO researchers. Lieutenant Colonel Hall also notarized a sworn affidavit in June 2010, laying out a summary of the events he saw. He included evidence of his belief that the United States and the United Kingdom conspired to bury the truth. Although his second statement presents information closer to other eyewitness accounts, the contradictions between his early and later reports remain and have been used to discredit him. In fact, an active campaign to discredit Colonel Hall had been launched. In an interview, Base Commander Colonel Ted Conrad attacked Hall by stating, quote, "He should be ashamed and embarrassed by his allegation that his country and Britain both conspired to deceive their citizens over this issue. He knows better." The British have gone as far as to claim that no one present has succeeded in corroborating Hall's account, leading many UFO specialists to believe his colleagues were silenced. Conrad also attempted to discredit Sergeant Jim Penniston, who testified that he had touched the extraterrestrial spacecraft. Furthermore, several eyewitness accounts from December 26th survive. For example, John Burroughs reported more than just the lights, but added there was a noise, quote, like a woman was screaming. His statement checks with Hall's report of a similar sound on December 28th. Still, the government has explained that it may have been the alarmed bark of a local deer, the muntjac. Unfortunately, police reports have been of little help to experts and enthusiasts. Pages are filled with witnesses rationalizing away events as they happened. The reports attribute the lights to a nearby lighthouse and the marks on the ground to wild animals. The file includes a letter from Inspector Mike Topless stating that a police constable returned to the scene the next day to inspect in daylight. He found nothing amiss. According to his letter, quote, "There was nothing to be seen, and he remains unconvinced that the occurrence was genuine." He alleged optical illusions are often induced by the lighthouses at night, an argument many have found unconvincing. The final piece in the puzzle is the Ministry of Defense's case file. Rumors of the file spread. Many imagine it holds secrets of a cover-up. When it was released in 2001, the published record lacked any sense of an in-depth investigation. Most were made up of correspondence between public inquirers and the Ministry of Defense. Many still accuse the ministry of publishing an incomplete or dummy file. While the British government has stated that the UFO reports were never taken entirely seriously, and that the data is proof of that, others see it as an extension of an elaborate cover-up. One of the final documents found in the file is Minister of Defense Lord Trefcombe's explanation for not investigating the matter further. Some witnesses and researchers find this explanation lacking and, among other things, insincere, casting a long shadow of doubt over the US and UK's plan to hide the truth. Counter-theories. The extraterrestrial explanation of the events at Rendlesham Forest has not been without its detractors. Many came up with skeptical answers and conspiracy theories about what happened. One of the most popular theories argues that the entire event was a hoax. While no substantial evidence confirms this, policeman Kevin Condy told the BBC that he had caused the strange lights by driving in a modified police vehicle around the area. If this is true, no account of the events has legitimacy. Still, his unsubstantiated claims have been taken by others as additional confirmation of a cover-up. Also among the hoax theories is the contention that the British Special Forces purposely staged the sightings in revenge for an August 1980 incident in which SAS paratroopers were detained by US security forces in a training exercise gone wrong. The SAS had been attempting to stealthily parachute into the Woodbridge Royal Air Force Base to test its defenses, but they were detected by US radar, intercepted, assaulted, and held prisoner. Another less plausible explanation is the Soviet espionage satellite theory. Believers argue a spy satellite caused the flashing lights. Still, no evidence supports this claim. The most enduring explanation links three circumstances to the sightings. The first was the passing of a natural fireball over the British skies on December 26th. Astronomers explain this natural event is why the servicemen witnessed lights descending towards the forest. It was perhaps debris from the meteor. The second circumstance was the presence of the Orford Ness Lighthouse 5 miles away. At the time, it was among the brightest of British lighthouses. It was also within the line of sight of witnesses. The last circumstance stemmed from a police report of the incident, which alleged the supposed UFO landing marks were rabbit diggings. While neither of these three things can be confirmed as the root of the sightings, of course, neither can the UFO. Given this theory's credence, some witnesses attempted to follow the light and ended up seeing the lighthouse. Furthermore, there were reports that the strange lights flashed away every 5 seconds or so, which was the lighthouse's flash rate. Another explanation proposes that some witnesses may have misinterpreted the bright stars in the sky. The UFO lights could have actually been Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Many view these as an elaborate and exhaustive set of cover-up excuses, despite the vast array of explanations offered by experts and the government. The Trail. Public interest in the Rendlesham Forest grew with every UFO-linked event. Many tourists are interested in following the path where it took place. In response to these curiosities, in 2005, the Forestry Commission decided to create a trail inside the forest, calling it the, quote, UFO Trail. In 2014, they commissioned artist Olivia English to create a sculpture of the UFO at the end of the trail. The artist based her sculpture on sketches from witness reports. Furthermore, she sought to create a likeness to what happened without bias. Olivia English has stated, quote, "The design is really about trying to find a middle ground and remaining impartial and creating an interpretation." The sculpture features a line of symbols that some interpreted to be part of the conspiracy. English denied allegations, stating, quote, No secret code. It's art.